I was in the middle of a video conference with several stakeholders when the long silent group chat from my high school classmates suddenly blew up with notifications. "Megan, did you see Felicity's post? She's getting married today. You're really not coming?" As messages poured in, I realized Felicity Siemens, the queen of our high school prom, was indeed getting married. All our former classmates were attending. I tried to keep a professional demeanor as I responded. "Sorry, I'm busy with work right now." But the replies were quick and brutal. "Busy with what? Someone who doesn't post for 100 years must be really down and out. Just admit you're too embarrassed to come and stop pretending you're so busy." Then Felicity chimed in. "Remember our bet? I always said I'd marry someone better than you." I replied, "I honestly don't remember that." Others began to chime in with mockery. "Felicity's husband is a CEO of a publicly traded company. They sent over 100 luxury cars to pick her up today. Seems like you're feeling insecure about how your life compares to hers, which is why you're pretending to forget. Maybe you're so broke you can't even afford a wedding gift. How about starting a crowdfunding campaign to contribute something?" Amid the barrage of comments, Felicity tagged me again, pretending to be generous. "I hope you can make it to my wedding to witness my happiness. Since we're old classmates, my husband could even get you a cleaning job if you need one." With that, she posted a stunning photo of herself and her husband in their wedding attire. My jaw dropped as I recognized the groom's face. It was Logan Ridley, my husband, who had married me and joined my family. With trembling fingers I typed, "Of course, I'll absolutely be there to witness your happiness." Just as I sent the message, my phone buzzed with a text from Logan. "Hey, love. I'm heading back to my hometown to visit my parents today. I left dinner in the fridge for you, just heat it up. Love you always." Logan had moved in with me 3 years ago, looking after me and handling everything. He never forgot to prepare for my daily needs, even when he went out. His thoughtfulness used to touch me deeply, but now it all seemed absurd. I abruptly ended the video conference, grabbed my car keys, and drove to the location Felicity had shared in the group chat. As I approached her house, I saw a huge red banner at the entrance welcoming Mr. Ridley, president of Al Grand Group, for the wedding. Beneath it stood Felicity, radiant in a couture white wedding dress, eagerly awaiting her groom. A crowd of our former classmates surrounded her, buzzing with excitement. "Felicity, you kept this such a secret. We had no idea you were marrying the CEO of Al Grand Group. Mr. Ridley is a well-known businessman. You've really hit the jackpot, Felicity, joining high society like this. Don't forget us mere mortals." Even our old teacher, Amanda Lane, was there, singing her praises. "Oh, Felicity, from the first time I saw you, I knew you were destined for success. That's why I never scolded you for your grades. I knew you were born to be rich and didn't need to rely on academics." As the crowd showered her with praise, Felicity beamed triumphantly, her eyes shining with satisfaction. Logan, who had once appeared content and low-key, had lived with me for years. I'd entrusted him with a small company under my name, Al Grand Group, to gain experience. Little did I know it would become the asset Felicity was now flaunting. When I entered, the classmates who had just been admiring her now frowned at me, openly displaying their disdain. One of Felicity's supporters noticed my car and approached with a sneer. "Megan, you really went all out, huh? Renting a Bentley just to keep up appearances at Felicity's wedding?" The others joined in the taunts. "No wonder you dared to show up. You just wanted to look rich. Renting a car like that must cost at least 3 months' salary. Some people just love to show off." I remained calm and replied, "Actually, it's my car." But before I could say more, Felicity stormed up to me, her face twisted with fury, and slapped me. "Your car? This is obviously my husband's car. I suspected he was seeing someone else, and now I find out it's you, you tramp. How dare you come to my wedding driving my husband's car to provoke me?" The crowd's eyes widened in shock. "That car is really your husband's, Felicity?" a classmate asked. "Of course it is. Why would I lie?" she replied, full of pride, pulling out her phone to show photos of herself and Logan together in the car. There were pictures of them hugging and sitting on the hood, looking close. The interior details and the license plate were unmistakable. The crowd gaped, and someone gasped. "Oh my God, that really is Felicity's husband's car. So Megan is the other woman?" Felicity glared at me with hatred. "No wonder you've kept so quiet all these years. You've been playing the role of a mistress this whole time." The contempt intensified as people began pointing at me, murmuring, "I thought Megan was such an upstanding girl. Now I'm disgusted just thinking about it. Looks like she was desperate for a rich man and threw herself at him." Even Ms. Lane looked at me with disdain. "Megan, please never mention you were my student. I didn't teach anyone with such low morals." As the chaos escalated, I tore off my designer coat and threw it in the trash. I fixed my gaze on Felicity and firmly said, "Before you accuse me, ask Logan who the real mistress is." Felicity, furious, pulled out a key and scratched "Mistress" onto the car's body. I watched the scene coldly. "I hope you're all ready to face the consequences," I said, standing there a moment longer, watching as Felicity's friends laughed, flaunted, and jeered around her. They exchanged looks of superiority, utterly oblivious to what was about to unfold. Every insult, every sneer fueled the fury boiling inside me. They had made a big mistake. They'd messed with the wrong person. I took a deep breath, savoring the taste of revenge lingering on my tongue. This time, I was going to relish every moment. When I returned to the wrecked car, the broken glass and scratches on the paint didn't bother me. In the trunk, besides a folder of documents, there were valuable items, auction paintings and rare antiques. I knew exactly what they were worth, and soon, Felicity and the others would find out the hard way the cost of playing with me. I grabbed the folder and walked away without looking back. The laughter and offensive comments echoed as I left, but they no longer affected me. They were going to pay, and pay dearly. At home, every detail meticulously arranged by Logan seemed like a cruel irony. Dinner was in the fridge, the couch set up just the way I liked it, and a small note on the table read, "Take care, love. I'll be back soon. I love you." It was as if he had two faces, the perfect husband for me and the lover of the new wife who now boasted about having stolen him. He thought I would keep silently accepting everything. Poor fool. It was time to show him I was never the weak person he imagined. I picked up my phone and made a few calls. My always efficient lawyer confirmed that the transfer process of all assets was almost complete. Within hours, Logan and Felicity would have nothing. The company, the house, even the shares I had temporarily put in his name would all be back in my possession. Satisfied with the progress, I sent Logan a message. "Be honest with your new wife. What will she think when she finds out you don't own anything?" Minutes later, he called, his voice desperate. "What have you done, Megan? You're crazy." "No, Logan. I'm just taking back what's mine. If Felicity thought she married a wealthy CEO, she'd better prepare herself for the truth." He tried to explain, beg, and finally threaten me, but it was too late. I hung up without hesitation. With every passing minute, my control over the situation grew stronger, and soon, both he and Felicity would be facing the disaster they'd created. The next morning, I got up early and went to the office of the company Logan managed. I walked in confidently, and within minutes, made the announcement that would end his reign. "Starting today, all operations are back under my control. Logan Ridley is officially removed from any position at Al Grand Group." The employees were stunned. There were whispers and surprised looks, but no one dared to challenge me. They knew who I was, and more importantly, they knew my power was real. Before I left, I sent a press release to the local media, announcing that Logan and Felicity no longer had any association with the company. Now, not only were they broke, but they'd also lost all credibility. That afternoon, as I organized some final details, I received an unexpected call from one of the old friends who'd attended the wedding. "Megan, you won't believe this, Felicity is losing it. She just found out Logan owns nothing, and she's throwing all his things into the street." I smiled to myself, satisfied. It was exactly what I'd anticipated. Felicity, the woman who thought she'd won it all, now realized her marriage was a lie. I decided to go there to witness the show. When I arrived at her house, the scene was even better than I'd imagined. Felicity was in the middle of the sidewalk, shouting and hurling suitcases at Logan as he desperately tried to explain himself. "You lied to me!" she screamed, tears of rage streaming down her face. "I can explain, Felicity. It was all a misunderstanding," Logan pleaded, but there was no turning back. Neighbors watched the scene, some recording with their phones. I approached silently, savoring every second of the public humiliation. "I told you, you should have asked who the real player was, Felicity," I said, interrupting the argument. She shot me a glare filled with hate, but there was nothing she could do. Logan was finished, and she knew it. All the fortune she thought she'd secured was slipping through her fingers as she continued to shout insults and break objects on the sidewalk. I turned and walked away, leaving them to deal with the mess they'd made. In the following days, their downfall made headlines in every local newspaper. Felicity was exposed as a gold digger left with nothing but debts, while Logan was seen as a weak, manipulative man incapable of maintaining any stability. And I moved on, stronger than ever, now with the company back under my control and my reputation restored. Every step I took was a reminder to never underestimate who we are, and to always remember that revenge is best served cold. I spent the next days carefully closing this chapter of my life. Headlines about Felicity and Logan's collapse flooded the local papers. The image of Felicity, desperate and crying on the street, turned into a meme on social media, and Logan was quickly labeled as a parasite who'd lost it all. But something was still missing. They needed to understand firsthand what it meant to mess with someone like me. The revenge wouldn't be complete until each paid the price, fully and irrevocably. First, I made sure they had no chance of recovering. With the company and assets back in my control, I rushed to sell all shares and properties associated with Logan's name, leaving him with no options. Within days, nothing remained in his name. I even informally contacted several financial institutions to notify them of his situation, making it harder for him to get any credit. They'd enjoyed the benefits of luxury, the ceremony, designer dresses, car rentals, and extravagant parties, all with the hope of living in an abundance Logan never truly had. Then I began moving the pieces anonymously, leaking to the media details of their absurd expenses and mounting debts. Newspapers and blogs didn't take long to spread the story. The prom queen, Felicity, had married a fake CEO. And now, she's drowning in debt. It was one of the headlines, and the scandal was immediate. All the former friends who once laughed with her and applauded her began to distance themselves. They deleted photos and posts from the wedding, removing any trace of her. The public humiliation was merciless, leaving Felicity abandoned and alone. Meanwhile, Logan, with nowhere to go, tried to contact me multiple times. I blocked every attempt, making it clear he was no longer welcome in my life. In the end, he moved back in with his parents, utterly defeated. Felicity threw him out and left him with nothing. The last thing I heard, he was working a temporary job, far from everything he'd once tried to build. But it wasn't over yet. Felicity needed one final lesson. I arranged a private auction and bought her wedding dress, which she had pawned to pay off some of her debts, for a fraction of its original price. When the dress arrived in my hands, I took a careful photo of it folded neatly and sent her one last message: "Your fairy tale is now part of my collection. I hope it was worth it." They say revenge is sweet, but the satisfaction I felt went far deeper. I had regained everything, and then some. The business was thriving again under my leadership, and the peace I felt was priceless. Best of all was knowing they would never forget what they did. Every time Felicity or Logan remembered what they once had and lost, they'd remember they messed with the wrong person. With everything finally in order, I decided to close that chapter for good. I sold the house Logan and I had shared and bought a new apartment downtown, modern, spacious, completely mine. The past had no place in my new life, and every step I took was a reminder that I'd never allow anyone to underestimate me again. Logan and Felicity are just memories now, a lesson that will never be forgotten. As I move forward, with my company flourishing and my life balanced, one thing is certain: if they ever try to rise again, they'll always be in the shadow of my victory. Today, my life is completely different, and every step I've taken has reminded me that sometimes, losing is just the first step toward a true victory. The past, with all its betrayals and humiliations, feels distant, like a storm that's passed and left only clear skies behind. I no longer look back with anger but with satisfaction. That episode taught me something invaluable: never let anyone dictate my worth and always keep control of my own victories. Under my leadership, the company didn't just recover, it thrived. In recent years, I opened new branches, forged international alliances, and expanded into markets Logan would never have dared to explore. Today, ALR Group is one of the most recognized companies in the industry, and I'm celebrated not only as a successful businesswoman but as someone who rose amid chaos. Every achievement is a reminder that true power doesn't lie with those who try to take something from you, but in how you choose to respond. Over time, I earned my freedom in every sense. I moved into a spacious, modern apartment in the heart of the city with a view of the skyline. Logan, as far as I know, is stuck in an endless cycle of temporary jobs, unable to achieve financial stability. Felicity, on the other hand, fell into obscurity, living off appearances and desperately clinging to the scraps of dignity she has left. Occasionally, an acquaintance mentions in a gossiping tone how she tries to rebuild her life, but nothing she does will ever have the sparkle she once thought she possessed. As for me, I've truly moved on. I've traveled the world, met incredible people, and built a network of contacts that opened even more doors for me. I also learned to take care of myself in ways I had once neglected, from practicing yoga and meditation to investing in therapy. It was never about them. It was always about me and my ability to turn every setback into an opportunity for growth. Recently, I was invited to give talks on resilience and leadership. It's funny to think that people now want to hear my story not for the drama, but for the inspiration. I speak about resilience, about how we must never let temporary defeats define who we are. And although I never mention names, those who know the story understand that I transformed what could have been my downfall into a springboard to a better life. From time to time, I still receive anonymous messages from unknown numbers, likely Logan or Felicity trying to reconnect. I don't respond. There's nothing they could say or do to change what's already been. The past is buried, and I'm too busy living in the present to care about it. Today, I am happy, not because I needed to tear anyone down to get here, but because I finally realized my happiness never depended on anyone but myself. The freedom I feel is absolute, and knowing that Logan and Felicity live in the echo of their own choices gives me immense peace. So if you ask me how I am today, the answer is simple: better than ever. Every success I achieve is proof that I'm stronger than any obstacle life throws my way. And best of all, knowing that no matter what happens, my victory will always be greater than any defeat they ever planned for me.